I want
Baldur's
to talk
Gate's
about
cool.
Baldur's Gate because
Yes,
you do know
I
about
like it.
that, and it won't upset me anymore. So for those who don't know, Baldur's Gate, I didn't know anything about Baldur's Gate 1, 2, or 3, or that there was this thing made by Lorien Studios or whatever, and that they had this cool CEO who didn't think of profit margins as his primary factor. There's no DLC in this game. There's no microtransactions in this game. They made a point of saying, we made a full game and sold it for full price or whatever. It's been in early access for a number of years, apparently. And it's 97 on Metacritic. It's closing in on the most played game of all time with concurrent players on Steam. That's the stat I'm talking about. 815,000, I think it capped out at, which is crazy. PUBG was around 1 million, if I remember, but it's been years. It is different from anything I've ever played before. They say it's a CRPG, but then I googled that and it said that's a computer role-playing game, and I was like, okay, they all are, so that doesn't really work. And then I was like, is it an action role-playing game? I'm not sure how to describe it other than saying it's a very, very in-depth RPG. If you're the kind of guy who skips cutscenes, don't bother. And it really matters what your character is. If you decide to be an elf who's smart, you will have a completely different playthrough than if you just pick, I don't know, a human who's strong and kind of go through that. Things will happen differently for you. But the combat is where this thing is completely different from anything I've ever done. The closest I've come to the combat in this turn-based manner is Pokemon. Games like that where you've got multiple entities or Magic the Gathering. Because I've never played D&D. I don't know anything about it, but that's the other thing. Anyone who plays D&D, you're one of those hyper nerds who hangs out with your buddies around a table. My God, they made a game for you. They took, and I don't know why it's not just called Dungeons and Dragons. If they were just going to do that, they copied the rule set and everything and made it work in a game perfectly. I'm having so much fun. There were some growing pains where at first I'd play for an hour and be like, I think I'm done with this for now. But every time I go back to it, I play for longer because I get more invested and I get better at it.
You got fucked up by those goblins a couple times in a row, trying to be a little too clever at that approach. But that's the thing, that Kyle's explaining is you can go into the fight like we did, and we tried to there's a little kind of hideout here with some goblins, and I'm sure there's loot and stuff there, and we kind of want to get past them. And so we go there and we try the initial thing, which is what you always do in these games, which is combat. Let's try and knock them out and move through. But unlike Diablo or Vermintide,
or every enemy,
every single enemy out levels you. And so by numbers and by strength, if you see a level 4 guy who's got 50 HP, it's oh, that's a real problem right now because we're all truly weak. You level so slowly. And so we got blown out twice trying this fight before we realized, all right, we have to, who among us is the most suave? Who's got the best verbal ability, whatever that's called? Their charisma, I think it is. And Kyle has a higher charisma character. And so we're all right, nobody else talked to this guy. Kyle's going to go up and initiate conversation because we're more likely to get a better outcome because, Scum's character has no charisma. And so if he goes and talks to him, dice roll is going to happen, and it's going to be uh-oh, Scum, you need to roll a 17 to not get stabbed in the eye right now. Whereas Kyle would be okay, he has bonuses. He really just needs a 10. We need to hope. And
you roll die on the screen. There's a D20 die, and maybe it's a very hard confrontation. I'd be you need to roll there are some where it says roll a 20 or die, basically, or fail, I should say. Roll a 20, and you'll convince this guy that you are actually a ghost and not an enemy, and he'll walk away. And it's 20-sided die. I think it's 1 in 20, huh? Yep, that's exactly. Fuck. And I don't even think you can roll a 19 and then add a modifier. You have to roll a solid 20. So you could save Scum, I guess, through that. But I try not to do that. That's when you save the game, then roll the die. Oh, I didn't go my way. Load back and try again. I try not to do
not really
that.
In the spirit of it.
But you could play as that dinosaur man or whatever he's called. And when he's in that encounter that you were just describing, where we meet the troll and I sweet talked him, because he was I saw a playthrough with the dinosaur man who's using
the Dragonborn, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And the goblin's get down and kiss my foot. and your buddy's like, leave or kill him, but do not grovel to that guy. And you're like, in your dialogue options, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and it's like, that foot looks tasty. That toe so succulent. You lean in close, and they cut to third person. You like get on your knees. You have a tail, so it's sticking out all like it looks bad. The goblins are like, oh, he's gonna kiss the boss's foot, and your buddies are all like, what the fuck, boss? Don't kiss his dirty foot. He's a goblin. And you bite his fucking toe off. You bite his toe off with your opportunity. And you can only do that in that one scenario if your character's spec'd just right, and he's that fucking dragonborn man or whatever. You know, it's that stuff has been fun to me. My character is a rock gnome. She's a tiny 3 foot tall girl, and I have spec'd her so that she is very intimidating.
Very intimidating.
Yes.
Okay.
Anytime I'll be facing off against trolls and goblins, and they'll talk shit, and it'll be like intimidation. Better back up unless you want some of this. And she'll do that, and they'll be like, sorry, boss, we didn't want none of you. We didn't know. We made a mistake. Here's a bit of gold for your trouble, boss. They're like,
are you level 2 or 3 yet?
Like 3 or 4 or something like that. Yeah. 12 is about where it caps out. We were saying earlier, because I think Dungeons and Dragons at 12, you're a very powerful character.
There's a lot of like dirty, funny scenes. Like I haven't played as much as Kyle, but like we were going through this same village, and we wanted to explore a barn, and so like we opened the barn doors to look in, and there's a giantess or ogre woman on all fours being fucked from behind by a werewolf man who's like a more normal size guy, and like immediately it goes to a cutscene where like Grug and Grugette or whatever are like, what are you doing in my barn? And then like
he's embarrassed. He's covering his weredick.
Yeah, and then there's like what you can do or leave, and we are all like select to run away because it's very obvious that like we will get one shot by this giant troll bitch. And so then like I happened to be the furthest away, and so I ran as far away as I could. Scum couldn't make it. Scum gets decapitated by the wereman. Kyle takes a couple steps away, but to no avail, because that big bitch is quick. She clears a lot of ground quickly. And now within like one half a turn,
between her titties.
I'm far away that I can't revive anyone or whatever. Kyle's dead. Scum's dead. Urban's almost dead. And then it's like, oh, so you can. So like it's not like other games where you could actually just turn and run, and like they'll forget about you and like turn and wander back to their little save area.
In combat.
Yeah, they will not forget that you just caught them fucking. Now they're mad and they want to kill you.
It goes to turn-based mode too, and each turn you can only move say 30 steps. So if you try to run away, you'll move your 30 steps, and they'll be like, "Fuck you! I can move 50 steps and punch you," and they'll just beat you to death. You can't get away without using some special ability or power to break contact and get away. But talking your way out is more often than not the way to go.
Yeah.
A lot of it's very sexual. All of your companions are way into you. The one chick is like, I'm going to speak plainly. I want to taste you. Might not be tonight. Might not be anytime soon. I'm coming.
Careful, this game's trying to bite your foot.
And there's pussies and dicks right off the bat.
It's a really horny game.
And in the character creation, I hide my clothes, and there's like pussy and titties, and then I check. You can't. I think this is the woke part that people were complaining about way back when. I think you pick like female or male voice. There's no gender's completely out of it. It's just about genitals and voices. So who cares? So you can just throw a dick on your character, and then you get to decide dick A, B, C, or D. You get to pick all the different. There's only a handful of dicks, though. The first mod that I even heard of is called Better Dicks.
Better Dicks.
It's called Better Dicks. They're already making mods.
Now they're in 4K. See the veins.
Bigger, stronger, faster. I don't know. It looked like an average sized dick to me. But you could go cut, uncut.
Becomes a ranged weapon.
Pubic hair. There's several different vulvas. I went vulva A.
The vulvas seem. I didn't spend much time on them, but it seems to be a pube thing.
It was a pube thing.
I didn't spend any time on the dicks either. The dicks also seem to be a pube thing.
Cut or uncut as well.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, okay. You scroll to the end for the uncut guy.
All right.
Or
I didn't spend. to be
She's
progressive.
uncut.
Yeah, that's a silly thing to complain about. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, I really don't care. I mean, it's a game where you can and will probably have sex with a man who has transformed himself into a bear at one point. Like,
if that's the right move for your character at the time.
When is it not?
Maybe the bear has some sort of gemerald that you could kill it and then take for yourself. You never know.
Fair.
This is that kind of game.
I saw everybody simping super hard for the Shadowheart character online, I guess. I guess that's the hottest female character, that you see. Everybody's real into her. I keep seeing most of the clips I've seen have had her like in, I guess it's a mod because she's in like lingerie. So it's like a Final Fantasy character or something, just really ridiculous. Yeah, it's a wonderful game. I bet it wins Game of the Year. The sales are ridiculous. It's making other developers look bad. I love there's no microtransactions. I think you can buy a premium version and get a cape, but that's that's it. There's no horse armor.
That's great. When's the last time a game did that? Like a big game?
I think the other contenders for Game of the Year would be. Wasn't there a Zelda game? I don't play that Nintendo shit, so I don't know. But I think like Tears of the Forest or whatever Zelda game just came out. It's supposedly so. I think it's a 96 on Metacritic. It's Tears of the Kingdom. I was close as fuck. I don't even know what those games are about. I really don't.
I've never really played the Zelda games.
You never played a Zelda at all? I played it as like when I was in school.
No, I think I had the wrong console when it or whatever. I don't know. I never got into it or knew what it was at all, and I still don't. Just never really owned a good Nintendo system. Really, my sister had a 64, but she didn't have any good fucking games. She had Paper Mario.
Paper Mario was another turn-based game.
It was. I loved Paper Mario.
It was fun. Yeah, I liked Paper Mario too. That was not one of my biggest games on N64. I remember loving Donkey Kong 64, which was hard because you had to find so many goddamn bananas all around that giant map. Then Super Mario 64, which was the exact same thing as Donkey Kong 64, except you're collecting stars on a different map than the golden bananas. I see that now.
Harley, how much Baldur's Gate have you played? Don't lie.
It's a crazy amount, and it's not even like how much I've played; it's how I've played. Because I played Mass Effect, my favorite series. I've played through it so many times, and there's something wrong with me. I cannot play a femshep. I cannot. And people say female shepherd.
What does that mean?
The female shepherd, same game. It's like incredible way to experience it. Just like I'm just something pathetic about me. And playing lots of games. I never really sway from the type of character that I make. It's either I'm like, this is me, or I'm like, this is a guy I would fuck. And like whenever I create the guy, it's like my ideal guy or my ideal me, something in some weird way. I'm just reading deeper. I'm like, this is a cool mustache, but low key, I'm probably like, I would fuck this guy. But so I make, and then this was the first time where I was just like, let's get silly. Like lowest possible strength, lowest possible, like things that just aren't relevant. So he's a bard, only bard, no subclass, halfling, luck, persuasion. His proficiencies are acrobatics and performance. And like all I do is like play the bongos with like my dick out.
So he's period
people love it.
Correct. Like
that's
that's what a halfling would be doing in those days.
Since you're a halfling,
I go up to work.
Donkey Konga bongos, like the little Donkey Konga ones, and you just slap them with your dick. Bonk, 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 bonk.
I bet there's a mod for that.
Yeah, and I persuade others. I'm like, come, slap your dick on my bongos, everybody, and they listen.
Is your character doing well with that approach, or are you hitting?
Yeah, I walked like there was like 3 orcs, like gigantic ogres, like eating, and they came by and they were like, tasted it a meal, and I just like basically in 4 sentences they left and they gave me a horn to blow whenever I want, to kill whoever I want, And they were like, you got to pay us, though. And I was like, no, I don't. And then I started playing the bongos naked. And they're like, I like this guy. Hit us up whenever, dude. Whenever you want to chill.
Damn,
and
that's
every time,
500.
whenever I go to a camp, I literally split my halfling from everyone else. They hide in the bushes. And I'm like, hey, you guys are killing the vibe. And I walk up naked like, what up, what up? Who's the boss? And I talk to animals. So like the fucking things come like, and I'm like talking to them. I'm like, how you doing? And they're like, yo, you speak animal? And I'm like, bro, I speak to dead guys. I'm like, you get up. And he's like, ask me 5 questions.
Like the D&D movie.
Man,
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds
it. I
pretty
have that
powerful.
spell in the D&D movie. You go up to dead bodies and ask them 5 questions.
Yeah.
It's really great.
I watched the D&D movie last night for the second time, and I liked it so much more because I had played Baldur's Gate. I've actually done the exact same thing you've done. I always play like sexy elf lady, or that's it. I always play sexy elf lady.
He does.
She's like who's a stealth archer. Like every fucking time, that's my character. But this time I'm like a fucking, I don't know, a rock gnome or some shit. It's pretty silly. I've loved Baldur's Gate so much. Every time I play it for longer periods of time. I started out really not liking the turn-based shit, and it's grown on me so much. I really like it. And like you said earlier, they don't limit you on what you can do. Like, for example, there's this part where you've got to do a whole puzzle and a bunch of silly shit that I couldn't quite figure out to get behind some shields to flip a switch. And I've been working on it for like 5-10 minutes or something. I died a few times and I was like, wait a minute, can I just use that spell that teleports me anywhere I want to go? It's like, yeah, of course you can. In any other video game, they would disable that spell. It's like, oh yeah, the spell of fucking apparition doesn't work in the Chamber of Ghouls, though. Oh, but in this game, it's like, yeah, skip that whole puzzle. You're a wizard. You don't do puzzles.
I had a
Disappear
situation
and
like
appear.
that. There was a book behind bars, like a door, and there was a trap in front of the door, and I summoned the hand, because my sorcerer did. And the hand, I summoned it in that room, and the hand was able to pick up the book and aim it to shoot through the bars of the door. And it wasn't just like, this is a door block and the whole thing is like a hitbox and it's not going through. It like went through it and like landed at his feet. And also, I didn't know you could do this, but like I was in a fight at one point, and like my halfling, like my barbarian needs help. I like grabbed the potion and like threw it at him. And like it hit him, and he got healed. But that was funny. Was like I tried that again on my halfling when I was using like my fighter girl there, and she picked up the potion and like threw it. And I guess it always rolls in the background. It didn't break. It hit me in the face. I got 7 damage, then fell to the floor, and I got 8 health. And I was like, okay, I guess 1 HP. But it was just like the little failures, like the failures make the game. Like when I walk up, dick out, and I'm like, no, you bitches are going to work for me because that's how it is. And then it rolls, and it's like 2. And then I'm like, fuck. And then now my guys are running out of the bushes to come fight because I didn't have, like, I just crit failed, like something that I could have
You stuttered. Like
even
on
one
your
time,
first joke.
one time in a dungeon, there's like, and this is like not a thing you could do in games. Like it's crazy. There was these 3 coffins, and like the cleric character who's like religious, she was like walking up, and like she had like a perception pass, and she was like, something's not right about this. And there was 3 coffins there, and like I was like, oh, so there's like, I guess undead are gonna come out, and I was like, I could light the coffins on fire, or like, and I was like, well, and I chose my barbarian girl, like the fighter girl, and I just directed her to run over, pick up the coffin, and throw it over the ledge. And like, that's sick. Like the bad guy's in it, and it's supposed to surprise you. And she went and like, picked it up, and
could be a cutscene.
Yeah, you could throw it anywhere. I could have thrown it into the other, and she threw it off the cliff. And the guy's just like dead. He's gone. Whatever items he had, I also lose forever. But that's gone. And then the 2 other guys like pop out. And also, like, once again, improvised melee weapons. There's things everywhere. And like with this girl, like I love doing shit like this. As someone like a skeleton's like, you can pick them up and smash the other skeleton with them. Granted that you're small enough. Like someone like my bartisan shit, my little halfling. Like I just grab someone, take them, and throw me. Like you just throw people around.
Oh yeah, you weigh less, so you'd be
you weigh less. Bigger, stronger characters can toss you.
There's spells in the game where you can enlarge or shrink a thing, and you might think, but they made that so that doesn't interact with other things that enlarge or shrink things. No limit. So you can get your druid to turn into an owlbear, and then he drinks the potion that makes him huge, and then your wizard goes, not big enough. Boom. And you're colossal. You're colossal.
So did you get that? I wanted to get that spell. Like, it makes you physically bigger.
Enlarge, yeah.
Okay, because I've been thinking about the concerts I could put on as my halfling bard. If I'm like huge,
you can make him even littler. My character is a rock gnome, so she's the same size as your halfling guy. But so I used the spell to shrink her even tinier. So now she's just Thumbelina leading the crew along, and she can go down into cracks in the rock where only the mage hand can usually go.
And the game just allows this. It's not invisible walls and barriers and shenanigans.
It allows it so well that like other game developers went on Twitter and they're like, guys, we love Baldur's Gate. It's great. Don't set your expectations for this to be the bar of AAA games, because that's not realistic. This game is crazy. And like, I understand in a way, because it's like, well, this game had like 400 people, 4 years, like a huge IP, which they have to pay to use, but still, and like
4 years of early access.
Yeah. And having said that, it's also like, yeah, it's true. But some of those games do make a lot of money and spend a lot of money to make them. And, you know, it just might get them to shift their...
There's no microtransactions. They're not bilking you for anything.
Well, you could buy a cape. Not that someone would do that, would they?
You don't just get the cape, Harley. You get the special dye as well. It could be blue or orange. Come on. And look, when I bought that cape,
bought the only thing you can buy.
When I bought that cape, I had not. I also got the digital soundtrack. There's no way that's on YouTube.
Yeah, for free.
But it's fine to support the developers, because they made a whole ass game that you can play single player. It's not a live service without microtransactions and crap like that, and it's higher quality than the other games. Yeah, Steam Offline.
Sure.
I'm almost positive it works fine offline, because I was playing during a thunderstorm, and if I'd been playing most of maybe every other game that I play, the power had gone out, or not the power, but what happened was the power flashed off, which means that the internet gets knocked out and has to go through that whole reboot process. But I didn't lose my devices. And any other game, I would have had to stop and wait 10 minutes for the thing to reboot. But it just keeps playing. And then the cloud updates whenever it gets bandwidth back again. I haven't played a game where I gave a shit about the story or the dialogue, maybe ever. Maybe since Dead Space 1 or 2, like 15 years ago or something. But I'm reading all the dialogue and following the story along. I'm really wanting Shadowheart to figure out, her whole nonsense, and I'm really enjoying the fucking game. It's the best. It's the most fun I've had playing a single player game that I can remember right now, and it's so deep, and it's clearly got so much replayability.
I had to go and just re-roll just to see the intro, and I re-rolled the as a half orc. Like just full strength, no intelligence or perception. Like I step on every trap and like get angry and stronger. And I played through it, and it's just like crazy that like what I could do. Like I'm seeing like my best friends who I've been venturing with the halfling. Like one of them is a mage. His hand is sticking out of the portal, and he's like, "Help me, please." My orc slapped his hand away, and he's like, "I will perish in here," and it closes up, and he's dead. And I'm like, I love that guy in my playthrough. But
Gale's dead now.
This mutant playthrough that I'm doing right now is like, fuck. Like one of them also like something happened. I don't want to spoil, but something happened in the middle of the night. And he was like, let me explain. And I'm like, no. And I just killed them. And everyone woke up and they're like,
Astarian's
killed that
dead too.
guy. That's what I'm talking about. But I didn't want to spoil anything. But yeah.
Yeah, that's...
is that the guy we killed right off the start?
No. He's one of your... Oh, we did kill a follower.
You can play in a party with friends, right? Like you can queue up and play co-op.
My experience with that is it's difficult because if you leave the party, then you're no longer synced with on the same missions and story, and we're all at different levels, I think, now. Okay. I don't know if, I've got a campaign going right now where I'm in Act 2. I don't know if Taylor could jump in with me, even though he hasn't done the prerequisites for a lot of the things that I'm doing right now. Whereas I'll give Diablo some credit. In Diablo, you can absolutely do that. I can be in the middle of a mission, and Taylor can hop on, join me, and he hasn't done the part where he found the book, but we're doing the part where we burn the book, and he can just join in and do the whole fucking thing. But so I don't know about the multiplayer ability in this, but I just play by myself and love it so much.
And if
it would
you
be fun to
don't burn
stream.
the book, you get the spell to talk to the dead people from the Dungeons Dragons movie.
I haven't gotten there yet to deal with that book yet. With the one with the I've got that mandatory that comes later. We got bigger fish to fry. For now.
I have. I came across something that lets me talk to the dead. So I'm like, I'm gonna fucking burn this book. But I think I might be. I was gonna say I think I might be further along, or maybe just because I'm a warlock that I've got some abilities that. But I'm in Act 2. And I've got those as bound spells now, so I can talk to the dead and stuff anytime for kind of free. I'm like, it's interesting. The game is, it's like Diablo's like almost mathematical, like on a grid, and this one's like more of a sandbox. Like Diablo's like Diablo's
rails.
It's like mathematical in a way, the way that it happens and the timing. You can't do certain things before whatever. This game's kind of like, I don't know how you got in this room here, but keep going, buddy. Sure.
I like games like that. Those are the best kind of games.
Agreed.
The mechanics are what carries the game.
Have you played Baldur's Gate, Drifter?
Unfortunately, I have not because of my many problems. It's kind of challenging to game. I do play Teamfight Tactics because I only have to click twice about every 30 seconds. But no Baldur's Gate. I have had a lot of people recommend it to me. A lot of people, it looks great. On the topic of Dungeons and Dragons type things, I do watch Critical Role and Dimension 20, and I enjoy some of the Dungeons and Dragons improv content out there. I think that's fantastic. Biggest channel on Twitch, most subs, got their own Prime show and everything. Absolutely killing it. So I do watch that with my wife. It's kind of fun. It's like, I feel like it's like reinventing the old radio drama. I don't know if you guys were around for like it was like the Christian Family Radio. They'd have these like hour-long dramas, and even before that, if you had grandparents that might have played some. It's the exact same thing, except professional voice actors and improv actors, and they do D&D. So they like really get into it and really act it out. And it's something that it's long. It's like 4 hours, but you can kind of have it on in the background, and you don't have to necessarily watch. As long as you can hear it, you can keep up with the story. And I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I never thought I would. I never thought I would get into it. I had a lot of very negative stereotypes against D&D, because the only time I had ever seen it was it's satanic or it's all the dorks are doing it, and it's something, you'd watch these old movies and the mentally unstable kid would be playing D&D and then go kill people. And I just thought, okay, this is a game for people that have serious emotional problems.
And it's not.
No, it's not. I feel ashamed, but that's what the media made it look like.
But you're right about like it was definitely poisoning as a young person to like see the people who were playing D&D and being like, oh, so it would be social suicide at school to go play that game with them. I think I'm going to keep playing COD 4 with my friends on Xbox.
See you later, guys. I'm going to band with the cool kids.
Yeah.
Like,
later.
I didn't know what I was dealing with it.
Did you do it?
Dungeons and Dragons?
As a kid? Yeah.
No, I didn't know. I played way nerdier stuff, like certain board games or whatever. I just didn't know what Dungeons and Dragons was, and no one was into it that I knew. And then, like, when I figured it out, I was like, oh, this is so sick. And then ended up playing it a bunch of times, and it's just fun. It's just, you could do whatever you want.
This game makes, it's D&D the game.
I want to play real D&D. We need to find a dungeon master, and we can all make characters. And
all right,
easy to do. Like, there's so many online programs. Like, there's like 4 or 5 different big, robust programs and professional DMs. And I can
dress up.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
I'm basically already playing Spelljammer. They just added space clowns, super powerful murder machines, but they can't do any stealth whatsoever because their shoes always squeak. So it's a non-stealth character.
That means you must be very powerful in other ways. If you get close, you have a devastating blow.
Yeah, you get buffs when perceived. That would be the key word. Yeah.
Clowns do scare me.
I'll be honest. I'm trying not to look at your part of the screen. It's a little upsetting.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. I agree. It's a happy clown. But
yeah, at least it's happy.
But the thing about clowns is that they're always happy until they're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at first they're always quick, and then it's just pulling your intestines out with a spit, cranking it while they get slowly drawn out of you. Click, 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 click.
Invested in WASD yet, and like gotten good at.
With in AoE. Yeah,
Well,
Age of
shooters in
Empires
general.
2 is one of the most hotkey intensive games out there, and so I'm pretty good on that. I would say I'm probably not that good at it in shooters because I prefer RTS as a genre. Like the only reason I like AoE 2 so much is because I like that medieval flavor, the bows and arrows, the swords, the siege towers and trebuchets. If I was like a space sci-fi guy, I would be playing StarCraft.
Did you guys play Baldur's Gate with a controller, or did you use a mouse and keyboard?
I didn't play much of Baldur's
I use
Gate.
mouse and keyboard. I use mouse and keyboard for everything, even when people are like, "No, you gotta use controller. Trust me." No, fuck you. Although I went back and forth on Elden Ring because they were like, "Kyle, you've been using mouse and keyboard. You're crazy. That's why it's so hard." And so then I played like a shit ton more with a controller and hated it so
Dude,
much.
Diablo was like
Why would
made
you-
for controller. Like I
Cal,
played the
like-
whole first half of my Diablo experience on mouse and keyboard, and then my buddy, who's a way better PC gamer than me, was like, "Why are you not using a controller? This is so honed for controller." Switched to a controller, it was immediately easier, way better. So sometimes
Yeah, I ended up picking up Baldur's Gate because you, Kyle, were pushing it so hard the last time I was on. And so I was, all right, fuck it. I literally downloaded it that night and I put, I think like 70 or 80 hours into that game. I had never played Dungeons and Dragons before. I never had any interest in it. And so the first 10 hours, I'm like getting used to stuff. I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep playing. But then something happened and I turned a corner and I was like, dude, everything you do,
You got to like level
it's
3
so-
or 5, like somewhere in there, and,
Yeah.
and suddenly you get like a little. It's one of those things where you get like your third weapon or your third perk or something. It's like, oh, it's clicking now.
yeah.
Now it's
Well, everything
wonderful.
felt so consequential. Like every decision I made, like you could tell, I'm like, oh, this would have been drastically different had I gone in that direction. And dude, that game was like a genre-defining game. Like it was
it's
easily
going
my
to be.
favorite game of last year.
Unless they're the greatest dev of all time and they make like a Baldur's Gate 4, like in 2 years, I bet that's going to be a classic game a decade from now.
Oh, for sure.
It'll be the remastered version. People will be playing that shit on their refrigerators.
the like
and-
hour that we played together, Kyle, and you were walking me through a bit of it, and we met that one kind of smug elf guy or whatever early on. I was like, let's kill this guy. I don't care for him one bit. He's being rude to me and my compatriots. And so we killed him.
And you
and
get
then
to just do
afterward,
that.
you killed him. And afterward, Kyle's like, so Taylor, this guy is wildly important to what you need to be doing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, so we probably shouldn't have done that. And you're like, no, we really shouldn't have done that.
I killed
He was the village leader.
And now they're going to be
Kyle,
mad.
who's the bear guy's name? Is it Halcyon? Is that his name?
It's not Halcyon. It's something like that.
Halcyon, yeah. I killed him. I killed him. I had no idea that was like an important druid. And I told my chat, I was telling my chat the next day, I was like, yeah, I killed a bear yesterday. And they were like, wait, what? Where did you kill the bear? I was like, I was in some prison. They were like, you fucking idiot. Like this guy's like really important for Act 2 and 3 from what, and like my fiance's playing it. And so I get to see a little bit about like how it played out. I'm like, fuck, I should not have killed that guy.
And
But-
in my first playthrough, I didn't realize that I needed Halcyon, and so like I completed the second act successfully, and the whole second act is like this land is poisoned by a curse. Halcyon is the guy who removes the curse.
Yeah.
I left
Or
without
you can get
removing
like a
the
little
curse.
pixie. You can free like a little pixie and then she'll like give you light or whatever. But
Yeah.
Did you guys play the game Dante's Inferno? It was kind of like a
God of War clone kind of.
Yeah, it was like
back
a
in the
God of
day.
War
No,
clone, but it
never
was
played
really
that.
good. I thought it was amazing that you get to cleanse or murder unbaptized babies. They're like one of the key enemies. But you fight Satan as the final boss, and he's like 12 foot tall, and he's got this monster like 12-inch dong that's like flopping around in your character's face for the whole fight. It's
And
Have you
you
seen
have-
the movie?
He has to be offensive even as he fights. That's
Yes.
Satan's.
Seen
MO.
Have you seen the movie
You have to
Dante's
beat him in a
Inferno?
rock off.
yes, I think so.
So there's an animated movie from 2010, I think, called Dante's Inferno.
This is made from the
Very
same
good.
game, by the way. I think this is connected,
Yeah.
by the way. I think
It is.
they're
It is.
connected.
It was a promo for the game.
Yeah, and it is sick, and that's why the game is like that. That story too. It's cool.
The book is
Yeah.
good too. If you want to read the book, don't read Purgatorio or Paradiso. They're boring.
I'm so sucked into Baldur's Gate that's taking up all of my like free, funny, silly time. I'm loving that game so much. I'm gonna play after this. I want to know, and the reason I'm playing is two things that make that game so addicting for me personally. I do like the combat now. When you set off a big combo and everything gets wasted, it is cool. It is
just
really
to
satisfying.
not run in there like pressing square or mouse clicking at a like doing combos,
Of course,
and it
yeah.
like pausing for a second and being like, "Okay, you run here. You're gonna drop this here. It's gonna make it slicked in oil. You cast fire on that, and like just coming up with this thing and like." I love that. One thing that I do wish it had, and it's not a big ask at all, but I played the Alien Dark Descent game recently.
Yeah.
And that game's fucking amazing.
Oh, I'm thinking of Isolation. I haven't played Dark Descent.
Yeah, Isolation's incredible also, but this one's so good. It's like I would describe it like XCOM or Baldur's Gate.
Oh, it's
in that,
turn-based.
like, yes, but yes and no. Like you can set it to that it pauses whenever you like switch your weapons or whatever, but like really your guys are always moving and shooting and yelling, and like you're clicking them around, and like whenever they're walking somewhere they'll still target like an enemy, so they're moving around while shooting at the aliens, and it's all the sounds from the movies, and it's the action is happening. Because like one thing that I miss after that is like when in that game, like you set up like you could pause it for a second or slow down, and then you like set up the 4 things, and then they do it like in the timing. Because sometimes I want to like and you could do this in Dungeons and Dragons, and it's so funny. Like I'm never satisfied. You could throw something to someone, but I want to throw something to someone and have them like hit it in the air.
Ooh.
Like I want to be able to have like sequence of actions.
Yeah.
But that's just now I'm just asking for too much, because I could already fuck a bear in the game.
Yeah,
now I want
you're
to
getting selfish now.
you're getting greedy.
Yeah, I am. But like the Alien game is kind of like that. Like you set up like 4 guys to do something like at the same time. Like it's pretty cool. Like 2 guys take out their flamethrowers and like torch like a whole area, while 2 other guys, like one guy throws a flare and like the suppressing fire, like, and it all happens at the same time. And the game keeps happening, and you know, it's cool.
That's really
Great game.
cool.
Actually,
Yeah.
I watched the trailer while you were talking about it. It looks really good. I honestly kind of want to play that. That
It's
looks
great.
fun.
I
Everyone's
played
talking
it. I
about it.
beat it. It was like almost 30 hours to play through the whole campaign and all the secondary objectives and all that. And it's a good purchase. If you love Alien and you're down with that type of game, then easy recommendation. Easy. Yeah.
Yeah,
On the topic of retro games, they did what was it? They had an Evil Dead video game. There's a Friday the 13th game. Chainsaw Massacre had a beta, and amazingly, the one I'm excited for, not because of this, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the asymmetrical survival horror game where you play as clowns that hunt humans or as rednecks that try to survive clowns.
Oh, so you get 2 sides to pick from. I like
Yeah,
that.
I'll fuck with that one. I'm kind of tired of the asymmetrical horror meta that's been going on. I really did love Dead by Daylight.
What does that mean? Asymmetrical.
It's like
horror
one
game.
person plays as Jason and 4 other people are like running around and have things to do. Great style of game, and I did have a lot of fun with it, like ever since even like Evolve came out, and then Predator, and I played all of them, and I'm done with it. I mean, just like battle royales, I'm just like kind of done with them. And I've been really doing single player lately. And there's the funniest game that I slept on because it was cringe at the time, and now it's cringe in a fun and funny way. It's Devil May Cry, the 2013 bad one that fans don't enjoy. What they did to this character, I have never, like what you were describing about cutscenes in Baldur's Gate. Kyle saying how you like listening to like everything they're saying, like every cutscene, I had to see what was being said, because it was so. This guy is like, they made like a TikTok guy somehow, like years before TikTok, but he's the main character in this Devil May Cry, and like him and his brother, like they're just like they'll do shit like they're competing, and he'll be like, huh, did it faster than you, and he's like, yeah, but my dick's still bigger than yours. And it's just like a weird thing for the 2 characters to say, because you're
natural
like,
dialogue.
It
sounds like a B movie, like one of those movies that's so bad it's good.
like
it's
Twin
insane.
Ninjas. There's these action movies where these twin brothers made in like the 80s. It sounds like that.
McNamara twins.
The
Canadian.
McNamara twins. Yeah, they've got a real case of the not gays, which means they're doing everything they can to let the audience know that, hey, we might be here together in the woods with no shirts on, sweatily chopping wood. But here are our babes. They're going to show up in like 5 minutes. It's bro time for now, though. So chill. No
What do you
gay
like?
shenanigans.
Pussy. like that. They're
So
talking to
much.
each other in the woods.
Dude, those movies are hilarious. I saw them on Best of the Worst.
Yep, same. I've seen it. I'm such a big Red Letter Media fan. I've literally seen I went back and just watched everything. I really like those guys. They do such good shit.
Oh, fantastic. Some of the overall best, like most consistent, high quality content on YouTube. Definitely number one for their genre. They do have some fun behind the scenes. If you go way, 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 way back before YouTube, when they were filming movies at Rich Evans's grandma's house, you can see them destroy the entire house and lie to grandma about it being replaced and stuff.
Yeah, I want to see. They made what's the movie they made? Something Cop, Space Cop.
Space Cop. Yeah,
I've never actually seen Space Cop. They made an intentionally low budget movie, and it's the sets and some of the effects are better than real bad movies. Yes. And I think that's part of the allure. They're saying because they're always shitting on movies, and it's like, all right, let me just show you what I could do with egg cartons, my buddies, and a Patreon. Like I'll do a better job than you, and won't even try that hard. And Space Cop,
I've seen a lot though. We know that.
That's true. Milk cartons.
So was that the Alien set? Is egg cartons on the walls or something? Someone,
yep.
I've heard the person that did that job.
No, it's not Alien. It's the one James Cameron worked on before.
Right before that, the slug that rapes people.
Galaxy of Terror.
What?
He basically replaced the principal photographer halfway through and started doing his own different shit. And they got McDonald's Big Mac styrofoam containers, put them on the wall and spray painted them, and it just looked like a wall of uniform little square nubs. Why do I know this? I have way too much spare time.
Because we watch the same fucking documentaries and YouTubers telling us these stories. That's the one where
my version's like someone high told it to me while I was high, and that's why I had my mutated version. Yeah, that's why whenever Taylor's like, "Let me double check that," and he's like, "I don't know about that."
Yeah, dude, that's how I know about so many movies. Is like someone will say a movie title in my real life, and I'll be like, "That's the one about," and I'm like, "No." Kyle's just explained that to me. I've never seen that. And it's like there's a shocking number of movies that Kyle has just explained.
I'm almost
to me
sure that Planet of Horror or whatever, the one he's describing with the Big Mac things, is the one where the big slug alien rapes the girl at the end. And when they were filming that scene, they nearly crushed her with the prop. And I think there's even some more drama behind it where she wasn't supposed to do nudity.
Yeah, they had to pay her extra. And it was really cold. She was shivering and freezing and stuff.
I think she was supposed to do like a shower scene and she like wouldn't do that. And they're like, all right, we'll do the slug rape then.
And they lied about her age probably in the casting. And
it was real low budget
Hollywood shit. You guys know how it is with those adrenochrome sucking monsters.
I skipped that one.
Did you actually watch the movie?
No. I've never seen Planet.
It is significantly underrated because the exact same thing that James Cameron does with Aliens on the Alien World. They do a very good low budget version there. There's like 6 different monsters because the twist, you guys probably won't see it, is that it turns into whatever you're most afraid of. And it's got this interesting like meta plot, and the Emperor was actually on the ship the whole time and all this kind of like. I actually thought it was kind of good. It was a B movie. It was bad in a lot of ways, but it had really neat ideas that just kind of weren't quite budget appropriate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the big rapey slug monster might be Exhibit A for that. But
that's because that's like the anime OVAs. It has to hit up a certain level of violence. Like to sell the movie, it has to have a minimum level of violence and a minimum level of nudity, and even better if they're together.
Yeah.
I beat Doom Eternal.
Congratulations.
During the process,
text, like you're this fucking level.
Dude, so there is a level. There's a thing called a buff totem or something, and the monsters just kept spawning in and spawning in and spawning in, and sometimes I'd be alive for like 45, 60 minutes. And it was like trying to beat Nazi zombies. Like they just kept spawning in. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is the best I can do. And I still but it's never done. Right? And I just kept going. And I gathered that I probably had to destroy this buff totem. I dropped like 70 grenades on it, emptied my bazooka, shot it with every gun I have. And I'm like, this fucking thing won't blow up. I don't know. I thought there's like a shield looking thing around it, like just cosmetically. So I'm like, maybe I need to beat so many waves of bad guys before it's eligible to be broken. It turns out it's one punch. You punch it once. 70 grenades have no impact. Your fucking bazooka, empty it 16 times, no impact. One punch and it's done. And I beat the level, but I didn't know.
That's gotta be frustrating.
You beat the game. You went to heaven, jumped around, and did all that crazy stuff. Came back, beat the giant mega monster. Have you played the DLC though?
No. Is it good?
I found it to be even harder than the base game because I don't play on the hardest difficulty, but I play one level below that, and it was getting too hard for me.
Can I interrupt?
And yeah,
there's 6 levels of difficulty, but there's kind of 4 because the top 2 are like insane, hurt me daddy, ultra nightmare, hurt me daddy. When you say you're second from the top, are you 5 or 3?
I would have to see it to tell you. I just know that. So there's one level where I think if you die, the game's like fucking over or something. I don't do that shit. So I just ignore that as a level because I feel like that's some sort of bonus challenge shit. I think you got to beat the game to even unlock it. I think that's the case. Like whatever levels are available to you when you crack the game open, the one below the hardest one of that doesn't involve dying once in the game being fucking over, which I think is a thing. Like Ultra Nightmare, I think is like that. I've never done anything like that. The closest to that is I'm about to play Baldur's Gate on the hardest difficulty solo, like with one character, and it'll be 4 times harder than the hardest difficulty, kind of. But there's ways to play it differently because I'm obviously not going to just run out in the middle of the field against 4 times as many enemies.
I'm going to get Starfield to go.
I played second from the bottom, the difficulty. This is not the easiest one, but one above that. When I started, I was bad. Like I felt like I just wasn't moving well. If you don't know Doom, listeners, there's a whole lot of like jumping and flying through the air and hitting people on the move. And my movements were just poor. I kept getting myself stuck in corners to make like a Nazi zombie comparison. And my aim was average at best, and my movement was clearly below average. By the time I finished the game, I think I advanced to average, but I watch people play on YouTube like to get clues and stuff, and I was like, oh my god, so that's what you're supposed to be doing,
I was about to say,
yeah,
when you see someone play a game, because some games don't you just don't watch the footage because you don't care. It's not a spectating kind of game. But then when you see how it's actually played by good players, like, oh, that's nothing like what I'm doing. It's like learning how to use the paddle in the boat for the first time, and you've just been using your hands. You're like, it's like, shit, I've been using my hands the whole time. Give me that paddle. Okay. And all of a sudden everything's a lot easier.
There's a shotgun with a meat hook. So it turns a chain out, and then it pulls you to the bad guy. And then when you get there, you hit him with your big punch. It's called I forget what it's called, super punch of some sort. And so I was using it like that. Oh, yeah, come here, pow, hit him. Then I watch an expert play. He's using this chain as a mode of transportation. He's grabbing things in the air, skyhooking, flying across the map, rat-a-tat-tatting people before he lands. And I'm like, oh, we're hardly playing the same game. I thought I was supposed to go to the monster. You're using it to fly? People barely touch the ground.
I tried to barely touch the ground. I never stopped moving, and I try to get into a groove with the music because that helps me, because the music's always so good. It's like, and I'm just like, all right,
it's very high energy.
So the beat's like every 3/4 of a second. So I'm like fucking spacebar, change weapons every single fucking time. Like just machine gun, rocket launcher, fucking laser beam gun, fucking snipe you over there. You get into a groove, especially if I'm getting stoned. Oh, it feels good when you slide in, punch a thing and it breaks, snipe a guy way the fuck away, machine gun all these little things close to you, flamethrower that guy to get the combo, chainsaw him in half for more ammo, rocket launcher locked onto all of you, beep, 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 and then you just keep going and back to the machine gun, but this time I'm going to lock on. And you just keep this flow going where you never stop moving and you never stop shooting and they never stop dying. It's really satisfying.
Kyle's right. And another gap between me and a great player is the way they change weapons. So I would hold a weapon and pretty much use it until it ran out of ammo, then maybe switch weapons because I don't have that ammo. Towards the end, I got better at this. But what good players do is they they use the weapon, and then like they say the double barrel shotgun. Every time you fire it, it sort of cracks open. He puts in shells, and then it's ready again. They don't wait for that. They shoot it and change weapons, and then when they bring it out again, it's been reloaded magically. So they're like never waiting for the reload. There's one thing that's kind of like a crossbow, but it shoots a laser beam, and same sort of deal. Yeah. It takes a second to reload. Top players never watch it reload. I'm like, all right, now I have to manage to like evade for a second and a half, 3 seconds. These guys don't evade. They just break out something different and shoot with that.
Yeah. It's the DLC is real fun. It is harder. But it's more good fucking shit. It's a fun game. I love that game.
It's good. And it got me a little
Starfield is going to be a big deal, I think. I saw people mad about the pronouns, but it's like, dude, they're just giving you fucking options, like
as long as the quests are fun, I don't give a shit. Like,
yeah, I don't give a shit.
But
it's
if
a
it falls into
game.
like a Skyrim style, like rinse and repeat, hopefully there's a little more variety.
It's going to be Fallout in space, 100%. I haven't looked into it, but I promise you, if Bethesda made,
it's out. Yeah. I just haven't played it yet.
I haven't played it because I'm still just absorbed in Baldur's Gate and loving it so much. I'm on my second playthrough, and I'm modding it now too, which is just a blast. There's a really sexy blue chick that I've been wanting to fuck, but she's evil. But if you do evil things for her in the beginning of the game, she realizes the error of her ways later on, and yet all those people are still dead. I wanted to avoid that, so I made a mod where I just knock her out, put her in a box. She wakes up when we get to the second act of the game. Now she's my buddy. Now we can 69.
I'm glad you're really exploring.
Can't wait to eat that pussy.
I wish you the best. I wish her the best too.
So Filthy, you are stepping up in the world. Look at this.
Yes, look at that. The appearance of wealth.
Well, hold on. I can maybe just get the hands right in the way. Yeah, perfect. It's real. Look at this.
And you got a baby grand in the corner.
Where are you actually?
In a basement in the dark.
In a dark basement.
That's such the life of video games for a living.
I'm in a Connex box buried 15 meters below the earth.
Yeah, it's it was 100 today heat warning in Iowa. So with the AC on, what that means is it's a single zoned house, which means the basement is freezing fucking cold. So I'm in like a sweater and like in jeans, and it's it's the life of a streamer. What can you do?
What games are you super into right now? What are you playing?
Baldur's Gate 3 comes out August 3rd, and I'm super, super excited about that.
Have you played the first two? Because Kyle and I have been looking to jump into that series.
No, although it's a totally different company, right? So this is DOS, unless you're talking DOS 1, DOS 2 as prequels to Baldur's Gate from Larian. Are you talking the original Baldur's Gates, or are you talking the company that makes it?
I didn't know that Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 is a different company than 3.
Yeah.
Oh. Yep. Is that causing you like excitement or worry that it won't be as good?
I'm kind of hit or miss on Larian's previous stuff. DOS has a really big fan following. It's they're kind of very campy humor, and I didn't really like their combat system as much. But Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be doing D&D combat. It's just 5e combat, right, with some homebrew stuff. So it will be very similar in terms of all the systems that I play a million other places. And I'm super excited about the depth of the game. Everything I've seen from it looks really good so far. So they can fuck it up.
Like 12 classes maybe, and then
I just did all my class reviews. 12 classes, 48 total subclasses. It's gonna be fun.
It's turn-based, right?
Yeah, turn-based combat. Yeah,
I like that. That's gonna be such a fun change of pace, and it's gonna make the moves and the techs that you choose and your progression more important.
It's gonna be fun.
Well, we've been playing the opposite of turn-based. We've been playing Diablo 4, which is just mash everything,
hack and slash with magic. Yeah,
shit. I played through that a little bit. I think I have a character at 80 or something, but I got really bored with that game real quick.
Oh shit! Yeah, you played a little bit. 80.
80 is a ton. At season 1 just came out. I took the first character to like 83, and I'm on my second character on season 1. I'm like 50s, 55 or something.
I didn't even touch the first season. I heard that they basically hadn't made any of the changes that the community had been really asking for after release for season 1, and that if I do touch it again, it'll probably be season 2. How are you finding season 1 yourself?
I like the hearts. I like collecting the hearts. I like grinding for them because some of them do substantially crazy things. Just make your character 3 times stronger than he was before, and it's kind of wild to like do that stuff. So I'm enjoying that right now, doing nightmare dungeons. Just grinding.
I love the idea of that,
yeah.
right? The aspects are super cool. So like the idea of like you could build any skill combination you wanted to build the character that you wanted, then tweak it with these crazy aspects and stack it all to make these super
Crazy
strong characters.
synergies.
Sounded really, really fun, but in reality, it didn't seem to work out that way. It seemed to be a much more limited number of builds that are actually viable. The classes weren't well balanced amongst themselves, so that like it just felt bad playing some classes. This type of stuff. It just
when I would look at like when I was starting, I'm like, I want to do a necromancer minion build that seems so fun, and like that's what I ended up doing. But like, I had to look through like multiple different YouTube videos for builds where they're like, so the first thing you want to do is don't do this build and do bone spear because the minions aren't viable. And it's like, so the necromancer character that is a necromancer can't use minions. No, that's ridiculous. Like so you're right.
The whole
about
thing
that.
is raising
That's
the dead and having like a
stupid.
follower army.
It's a necromancer. He shouldn't be a sorcerer.
Yeah, the necromancer raises the undead to fight for him. Whatever you are, you're like a wannabe. You know, it's like you're the kid who thinks he's got dark magic because like you don't have any minions. You're just running around and you're like
just throwing spears.
Shit. Yeah,
you're just a better sorcerer at this point.
You're a barbarian, really. You're just a poor man's barbarian, just throwing spears.
Yeah, it's a fun game. I'm still going to keep playing Diablo, and I don't. Maybe it was Kyle who said this, or someone said that they like are prioritizing playtime over player base or something, or maybe who knows, maybe that's public cope to rationalize the fact their player base is dying. But my friends who are normal people who have like, you know, kids, obligations, like they don't have the time to grind shit like this. Almost to a T, every one of them was furious about the season 1 thing and was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like I have 3 kids. Like I can't just start a new thing and do this. And like, I just did care. Well, but they want to play with their friends who are on the new server and they can't. And so it feels, and it doesn't feel, it literally is. You spend 100 hours, not that many, but a lot of hours doing this. And then it's, unless you jump in again, you can't play with your buddies.